Today we are going to see something about remote sensing. So basically, one of the things about remote sensing is that it is not something which is new to us. So why is remote sensing not new to us? Can anyone share with us why remote sensing is not new to us? Right. See, the human body is a wonder. We've got a lot of things. Skin, for example. So suppose you see, if there is a fire, even before you touch it, you know you can feel the heat, and then you say, look, I'm not going to touch it carelessly, right? So if suppose you don't realize it, or you do something take precautionary actions, you are going to get hurt. Second thing, every time you probably, what you call as, you have certain organs, eyes, ears, nose. For example, if you remember, in all the gas books and other things, right, your fuel gas, it has this thing. If you smell gas, do something. Okay, so you are able to smell the gas and understand that something is not right. Something has to be done to protect yourself, right? And also, you will also take what is called as evasive action or preventive action when you are seeing or hearing a bad thing. For example, if you remember, we were talking about the Halifax disaster. So what had happened when the explosion took place, the people ran to see what was the source of the commotion, and that was the time when the shock wave hit the glass, and we this one, and they lost or got more injuries. Now, if you look at it, what has actually happened, all these sense organs take it to your brain, and I don't dare draw the brain. I'm not a very good person in drawing drawing biology, but anyway, so the brain processes all this information and helps you to take an action. And one of the very important things is, I have told you about this Halifax disaster. I keep telling this because I feel that at some point in time, you are going to see that the Halifax disaster like situation, when it occurs, what you are going to do. And if you see some of my previous lectures, in fact in one of the lectures which I had given with your class also, I have added some videos on how the children take evasive action in the time of an earthquake. This is what is what we call as, this is what I'll extend and call as intelligence. That is, you know that something is happening. For example, you smell gas. What is it that you're going to do? Suppose you're hearing a loud noise. What is it that you're going to do? Right? So on and so forth. So this is the basic, what I call as the premise of what we are going to try to do to understand the concepts of remote sensing. Now this is just for explanation which I am trying to give it to you. I would prefer to see a more, what you call as a scientific answer whenever you are turning in an assignment, or when you are turning in an exam, your assignments or your exam papers. So basically what is happening, there is some source, okay, there is some medium, and then there is some sensor. See, for example, whenever you are having what you call as, whenever you are seeing something, it is because, so there is an object. For example, you are driving a car. So when you are driving a car, you have certain things like road, you are looking for pedestrians, you are looking for other vehicles, and when you are driving in India, even potholes and other things. So all of these are the things which you want to see. Now all of these get illuminated. Okay, so if you are going to drive in the dark, it can be your headlight, okay, or it can be the sun or some other source like your what you call as the street light. These provide illumination, or they are providing some some kind of information which you can sense, right? So it falls on the object, okay, and it gets reflected to the sensor. In this case we are talking about the eye. So here what happens, the eye passes the information to the brain, and then you take a lot of decisions. Now this is what we call as the intelligence of the person, right? So if suppose a person is very intelligent, very capable, you will find that their response time is very short, right? So this depends on the capability of the individual. Now let's take another thing. Let us say that the same thing is being caught by a camera, right? And what happens is, typically you pass the information on to a computer. This computer is responsible for interpreting any of the information which is captured by the camera, right? The digital signal which is reflected back from the camera becomes the source of further action, right? So whether it is going to be an evasive action, as in the case of a driverless car or something, we have a basic idea of what remote sensing is all about. So basically you need to have some kind of illuminating source of illumination, or a source of energy, or a source of disturbance which you can capture. Now moving on, you can see, for example, if suppose you are driving a car, you are looking at so let's say that from the top you are driving this car. So suppose you see a slow moving truck over here. So what happens is, you are always faced with the dilemma. Now look at this. This is the amount of space on the road. Can my car go in this gap safely, overtake and go? So, and again, is there any other vehicle which can cross across? Another very important thing which I probably see also is, will a person dart across? Will there be an animal, or will there be a human being darting across the road? So these are all kind of things which, like you will be having in your mind, going through in your mind. So now what is happening, because of previous experience of people darting across the road, because of previous experience with this what you call as the truck doing an action which is not desirable to your safety, you take a lot of decisions. You take a lot of decisions on whether you are going to do the overtake, or you are going to follow at a safe distance. Now if you look at your what you call as the if you are looking at something, say, let us say, one of my favorite example, the weather satellites sensors. So what is happening, you are having a lot of sensors. These sensors capture the image and then gives it to you. You are looking at some of the previous experiences of such a weather system, and then you take some actions. What are these actions? Predicting whether Chennai is going to have, or Vellore is going to have rain, thunderstorm, hot day, or a cold day. So this is the very basic principle of this remote sensing. So what is happening, basically you are having a source of energy. This energy gets incident on the earth or in the clouds, and it is getting captured by the satellite. Again, please don't my drawings are really horrible, but yeah, I know you'll bear with me. This system, okay, this system is what happens in almost any, it is what happens in all the remote sensing techniques. There is a science behind the whole thing. For example, you know that when there is the sun illuminating a source being the source, and it illuminates a body, in this case the clouds, a few things happen. There is reflection, there can be refraction, and there is radiation. Okay, so you need to understand what is the science behind whatever you are doing. Many times these are not what we teach specifically in your lecture or in your 40 minutes. It is something which maybe you learnt in your 6th standard, where you talked about the black body radiation, so on and so forth, and reflection, refraction, radiation. These are all things which you are already knowing and which you are kind of building upon. So when you are understanding the science behind this, you will understand what kind of sensor you are going to use. So when you look at your cameras, you have quite a few sensors. Maybe you have your CMOS sensor, maybe you are having some other better techniques, or it can be a film camera where the silver gets darkened in the film strip. So this was some of the things which was used in the olden days or the previous days of before. Now when you are looking at the sensor, you need to understand also some of the strength and weakness. Okay, so what do we mean by the strength and weakness? For example, if suppose you are having a black and white strip, you cannot expect it to show color. You cannot expect it to show color because it is a limitation of the film strip. What you can do with it is something which is entirely in your hands. For example, if you are taking an X-ray, you cannot expect it to show a color 3D image. Okay, so this is what we mean by understanding the type of illuminating source, understanding the type of sensor, and also understanding the underlying principles. You are also expected to have what we call as some additional some additional intelligence which you need to use. Knowing the science, knowing the strength of the system, knowing the weakness of the system alone is not enough in many of the cases. Knowing the strength, knowing the weakness alone is not enough in many of the cases. What do I mean by this? Suppose you want to do something beyond, you need to develop the technologies which are available, right? Now we have given a very simple example on using on say the X-ray, on probably the negatives, the strip of whatever, and working on. See, for example, suppose you look at the weather satellites, we have a broad spectrum, right from infrared to ultraviolet. So if suppose I'm going to use only the infrared, I can infer certain data meaningfully. Suppose I'm going to go for ultraviolet, I can take some other thing. Maybe if suppose it's in the visible range, I can do some other information. For example, the satellites carry a wide range of sensors, and when these sensors are being used, you get different information. You get different information based on the sensor. See, for example, one of the important things is the Google Map, Google Earth, and stuff like that. What happens in all of these? Here you see something on the visible range, and then you are working on it. We also have the other what we call as not visible to the naked eye or not visible to the human eye, which you interpret differently. Okay, which you interpret differently. So basically, please try to remember that there is a science behind the whole thing. So what are the things which you are wanting to sense? What are the sensors which you are going to use? What are the things which you need to do to get a conducive environment? For example, you have the night vision cameras. So what happens in the night vision cameras? It's not magic that it can see in the night. It has a infrared illumination source which is present. So you take the infrared, you capture the infrared rays which are reflected back from the objects, and then you use it for making your whatever you are working on, right? So this is one of the, these are some of the things which probably you need to think about every time you have a problem. So when you are going further, you can develop early warning systems. So you what is there in the early warning system? Basically, there is a sensor, there is a science which is behind it, so it's able to capture the disturbance. Again, there will be some kind of intelligence in the process to filter out what we'll call as the noise from the signal, right? So, and again, that signal which is brought in, it has to be judiciously interpreted. So these are some of the things which you should probably think about whenever you are having a early warning system. So we are now trying to see some of the things which are behind a earthquake. What is behind? Probably a landslide, okay, and what is there behind a cyclone? What is there behind? Heat wave, cold wave, floods, droughts. Okay, maybe one of the things I have not talked about at all in this in this semester is the parasites. For example, locust attack. Okay, this was there in many parts of North India, and in the around April, May of this year. So parasite attack is also another very important thing. Maybe even a pandemic like what we are all facing, we could be affected by that also. So any of these things, like what kind of sensor which you are going to use, what is the science behind it, what are the sources of what you call as energy which you can try to quantify and qualify. These are all things which are going to be seen in this in the remaining part of our semester. Now we'll stop here. Do you have any questions, please? Any questions from any of you? Okay, so if there are no questions, we'll stop here, and I'll request all of you to please think about how you can adopt or use any of the things which are there in your what you are majoring in. It is always that there is going to be a solution to a problem with the department in which you are working with. So it just depends on, it just means that you need to think a little and probably also take time to see how you can probably use your skills. And today is the date of interdisciplinary work, and when you are able to prove that you can use your skills to solve a common problem, you are becoming very valuable, right? So thanks for joining.